3 seconds.
Do the damn thing.
And we are live on Saturday night /
It's actually
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
Yeah,
yes.
Technically it's Sunday morning.
Yes.
And we got a very special guest this evening
do.
coming to us from over the pond, across the pond.
Across the pond, over the hills and through the woods to grandmother's house we go.
And yeah, we've got a very special guest tonight. Welcome. Thank you all for kind of hanging out with us so late. There is a time difference, which is why we kind of settled for this scenario right here.
Just a little bit.
How's everybody doing this Saturday evening?
Oh, Ski's in the house. Teresa. Hey, D. I don't know if
Thank you all for being here.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to get to everybody's names because there's a lot of you in here. I mean, there's over 100 people in here already.
Yes, there are. So let's go ahead and might as well get started. We'll bring in
our guest,
Mr. Taylor, our guest, Junior Taylor. How are you doing, sir?
Well, not too bad, thank you. Thank you, Manny, for having me on your platform. And thank you, Bam.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Glad you could make it. I know it's a weird thing with the time difference, and I don't know what you normally do on a Sunday morning at 7 a.m.
I'll be sleeping.
But
yeah, he'd be sleeping, just like every normal person.
It's like most of us, right?
100%.
So I guess a lot of people know who you are, and perhaps they might know why you're here, but they don't know who you are necessarily. So if you want to give us a little quick 5-second intro on yourself, and then we'll get into why you're here, and how there's a common thread here, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Comments already. Wow. Hi everybody. For those that don't know, I'm Mr. Taylor, as some would know me as. Others just know me as Jay. I just thought I'd jump on the platform to meet you guys, hear what you've got to say, basically give everybody the opportunity to voice their thoughts and opinions. In a nutshell, yeah. I haven't come to have a war. I prefer to make peace in a war. In fact, to be honest, that's the whole purpose that's my purpose, I do believe, is to create peace, not war. So that's the reason why I says, let me jump on. Let me speak to all parties and try to come to a peaceful resolution. That's what I'm about in my profession and in my personal life. So that's what it is.
So that has come up, and I know you talked about it a little bit when you first made contact with, obviously, to get the elephant out of the room, to address the big elephant. You were commenting or watching Vanessa's video one day,
that's
and then one night you decided to go live with her, and then that's how you had your first interaction there. How did you come across her page? What happened there that you were watching Vanessa's page from you are in the UK?
It's a good question. I genuinely do not know why. When you're following someone and you get notification that they've gone live, I didn't even realize I was following Vanessa's account, to be honest, initially. I don't know how I ended up following her account. I didn't have a problem following it, but I couldn't tell you that I'd even watched a live or a video or anything, so I genuinely don't know how I was following an account. Not that I got an issue with it, but that's just what that was. So there was a series of notifications on my phone, quite a lot of them. And I've said this on Vanessa's live as well, so I'm not making up anything. I just say things as they are. And then those notifications. And then I actually pressed that notification by accident, so I ended up in her live, watching her live take place. And then I just put, "What are you ranting about?" Obviously over here, that what I meant was, "What are you venting about, or what are you talking about?" But what I said was,
I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah. So I says, "What are you ranting about?" And then it kind of went haywire from there. And then she misinterpreted what I meant, and then responded how she responded, thinking I meant something else. And then I kept trying to explain, so to speak, what I kept trying to reduce all of that, what was going on, and it wasn't really effective. And I thought, because my name will say JNR Taylor, it's not going to be a secret. It's not like I haven't just put Bugatti or, I don't know, vegetables. I put my name on my profile. So to have that take place and I can't even be heard to respond, to defend myself in the slightest, that promoted me, as well as a few things that Vanessa said, promoted me to go on the live. So that's what I did. I'm purely on the fact of I'd much rather people hear what I've got to say before they make their decisions about me. So that's why I jumped on the live with Vanessa initially. It's not because I've been an avid follower of Vanessa or yourself. I didn't know of either party in that respect. That's why I'm still baffled myself as to how I was actually following Vanessa. But be that as it may, I was. And that's what that was, to be honest. And then throughout, for those that saw the live, I just tried to, I didn't go on there to make peace. I was ready for war, clearly. I was not impressed, but decided against it. And then, which was due to the fact of how she responded when she heard me speak. So it didn't make sense to try going to war with somebody that's no longer trying to war with you. So it didn't make sense. So I just thought, let's just make peace. Yeah. Let's be positive. Let's try and uplift. Let's try and edify. Let's try and do the right things, which I've been raised to do, and I know better to do that. So
yeah. So you were legitimately just trying to find out what was going on. So I remember her taking the word ranting wrong as being offensive, and I remember thinking, he's not being offensive. That's a word that they use. It's a common word, and it's a common word that they use there. Like, what are you talking about? What is it you're talking about? Why are you upset, or something like that?
And to be honest, I could have phrased it differently. Common sense, or if I thought more before I'd sent the message, I could have phrased it differently, which could have prevented all of that fallout, possibly. I'm guessing so. So, because I'm not here to bash Vanessa, or I'm just here to speak the truth. So that's, I do believe in hindsight, if I wrote the message differently, then that possibly could have been avoided. Yeah, to be honest.
Yeah, this is definitely not a bash Vanessa thing at all. And I don't know if it's come up since you've talked to her a few times already, right?
Yeah, of course.
And I don't know if it's come up, but Bam and I get accused of being her haters, or being a hate page of her. Well, she does have a few. I'm not gonna lie, there are a few.
Yeah,
there are some people that dislike her.
I have been sent quite a bit of quite a few articles or sites or things that are basically against Vanessa. So not going to pretend they don't exist, but in all honesty, when I did speak to Vanessa, she'd mentioned that there were people that are against her, but she didn't mention any names. So she wasn't directly trying to slander anybody in particular. If I'm honest, I don't recall her doing that. To my recollection, she hasn't, and especially privately when we've spoken, she never mentioned you. She never mentioned this platform. She didn't give any specifics. Well. She just said, generally, there are haters out there. There's whatnot. So, because like I said, I'm not going to lie.
She has mentioned us in other videos she's done. And, I don't know if it's kind of like a back and forth type game, but, she says some hateful stuff about us. And, in turn, I mean, she's accused me of saying the most horrendous things about her. And at that time, I really wasn't saying anything that bad. But then if she's going to accuse me of doing it, I may as well do it. And, I don't hate the woman. I really don't.
Bam.
In my opinion, you have to know somebody in order to hate them.
Bam. Bam. Isn't that a bit naughty? Come on.
Well, let's just say I do enjoy the occasional spanking.
Yeah, Bam doesn't have a filter. Bam has no filter,
I really don't.
And I here on this program, I do not censor him, and he speaks his mind, and he doesn't do that as an act. That's just the way he is. He speaks the way he speaks, and
I get that. I get that.
So we frequently say, and I'm not going to say this the entire show. I'm not going to keep repeating it because we said it over and over again.
Yeah.
But we honestly and sincerely do not hate the woman. I don't know her. I've dealt with her a few times. I had another page a couple of years ago that I was with, a political page, and we had her on as a guest. And but I do not hate her. I disagree with a lot of things that she says, but I do not hate her. And I know Bam doesn't hate her either, although it might seem like it, but I know he doesn't.
I think that her and I could actually be friends because we have a lot of the same tastes in music. And if that's a way for us to, coincide, hey. But she blocked me and that's it. She's done with me.
Okay.
But I think it's kind of a game that we kind of play, or I think that she plays. Where she says something hateful and then we'll address it. I remember one night in a video, she thought she tore me up one side and down the other side, but I had to take little girl to church and show her how it was done. And I don't ever want to do it again, but if I have to, I will.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot there. And I don't know. I want to ask you how much. I'm sure people have sent you clips and links to watch different videos, and I bet you got a ton of that stuff.
Yeah, I have had quite a bit of stuff sent through, to be honest, and it was interesting, to say the least. A lot of that was after the fact. So after the first live was when I got inundated with messages, videos, links to sites. I even had, and to be honest, the funny part about this is that since all this took place, a lot of information comes across from both sides, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
So it's like a lot of information from both sides, from the other side. So it's like people from the other camp knowing information from the other camp and putting it up. So through various means, but it's been interesting because it explains a lot. Ironically, a lot of the stuff that was sent, not all of it, because remember, prior to that first initial engagement, I wasn't aware of either of your camps, so that was my initial contact. And then, so all the stuff that's taken place prior to that point between the two of you, two camps, should I say, I was oblivious to it. So when after the first live, when I received certain videos and things like that, I spoke to Vanessa directly about it, not on a live, as in directly. We spoke, and I'd asked her about X, Y, and Z. So we'd had conversations.
Yeah.
It wasn't a case of I've just seen stuff and that's the end of it. So from your perspective, I'm imagining you guys are thinking that I don't know so much. I don't pretty much know stuff. So a lot of things kept coming through. But I'd ask her about it privately, because obviously it's not something you do publicly. So ask her about it privately and we'd have a conversation. And even in my line of work, in which you'll understand why I say what I say, you don't hold things against someone, otherwise you prevented them from moving forward. So in my head, it's all about moving forward positively. That's just the way that we move professionally. I work for a second chance organisation for a start, and then on top of that, it's just the best way to move through life. So it's not a case of I think that she's an angel, she's super innocent, she never done anything wrong. Not at all, not in the slightest, because I'm not an angel. I'm not super innocent. I've done things wrong. So,
absolutely. Well, I have a past.
Can you see what I'm saying? So I can't come from the perspective or have a disposition of, well, she's done X, Y, and Z, and so therefore let's just keep like not just throw her over the bus. Let's just reverse the bus and then keep going backwards and forwards over it. It's not. I can't do that. So for everything that's been said, I understand it. I get it. But I can't just sit here holding her against it. How about we help her move past it? That's what my disposition was coming from. But at the same time, during that process and through this process of me trying to move in that direction, because just like anybody else, I believe everybody's got great potential, especially if they're tapped into and you've got the right services or the right support around you to help draw these things out. I just think, why not just move forward positively? So knowing that she's got a decent platform, which I come to find out later, she's got a decent sized platform, and speaking to other people, and they're saying that they used to be followers, they used to be fans, friends, whatever you want to call it. For so many of them to not be, I'm just thinking logically, let's turn that around. Let's make things positive. Whatever's been taking place between both camps, which is easy for me to say when I've just turned up. It's easy for me to just turn up now and say, do you know what, guys? Let's just put down the weapons. Let's just stop the war. Let's just become more peaceful. It's easy for me to say that.
Ceasefire.
Exactly. It's easy for me to ask for a ceasefire at this point, not knowing half of the X, Y's, and Z's. So that played a lot at first initially. Now, obviously, I'm still on the same path. I'm still going to work towards a complete ceasefire, and we just move forward amicably, and because it's just the best way forward. But I do understand that sometimes it's not easy to just move forward without taking into account previous events or previous occurrences or whatnot. Yeah. So for me, it was just a case of like, okay, this has happened, whatever this is. And then ironically, throughout the process, it's becoming more apparent things that have taken place on both sides, I'd imagine. So I'm not trying to trivialize or belittle anything that's taken place in the past on either side, because that's not good. It genuinely isn't good. And it can cause disgruntlements, which just creates more problems and has both parties become loggerheads even more. So that's not what I'm trying to achieve in the slightest. Disrespect and negativity is not. I can do it, I can regret it, but when you just need to be bigger than something to rise above, I prefer to do that. So I prefer all parties to just move in that direction. That's what my goal is. I'm not trying to bash Vanessa. I'm not trying to bash you guys. Even though I did tell you guys to take a deep breath and wait for me to jump on your live. Yes, I did say that. And as you know, I'll put my hands up. I'm not one to hide or shy away from it. I said it and I meant it. But in hindsight, it wasn't a clever thing to do. Especially not knowing the full... So I do apologize.
That's understandable. I mean, like, you don't know the whole story. No, that's perfectly okay. We're not. On my this is my show, and I brought Bam along a while back as it's called a color man. He injects his opinions and his colorful statements and stuff.
I think I'm here for shock value. I don't know.
He's the shock value, that guy. And one of the things I wanted you to know. And again, somebody's going to say, well, you don't have to explain yourself to him. It's like, well, you know what? I kind of do. Because do you understand why so many people have something against her?
Initially, no, I was completely oblivious. After speaking to a few, it became a bit more apparent, but everybody's going to have different reasons. But the certain things came up more frequently. There's like you got certain commonalities, certain tones that was more frequent for people's disgruntlements or unhappiness, and I was just like, I became more aware. And then that was the reason why I was trying to help Vanessa see things from a different perspective when I was in the last live.
In that first live, when you joined her and you had that little, you told her, you shouldn't let that bother you. You shouldn't address this, and you shouldn't. She became somebody else for those days after that. I mean, she was
Oh
a
yeah,
totally
she was in
different person.
love with you.
Besides being attracted to you, and that, but she became a totally different person that we've seen in a very long time.
Oh yeah, she
Okay.
got all
And
religious and everything there for a hot second.
yeah,
Okay.
and for a minute, everyone was like, "Hey, bring Mr. Taylor back. If it's good for her, that's awesome." And we were actually happy for her. She was on a different plane. So
That's good, because what you're describing is what I saw. Like that, it's that part of Vanessa that I see. But on the other hand, and that's the side of Vanessa that I think people need to see. If that makes sense, the side of Vanessa that people probably see more
sure.
often. I'm saying less of that and more of the other side. Hence, because let's just have it straight. Because I'm not going to say something I haven't said before, or I'm not going to say something I wouldn't say to the person. It's just not me. But if you remember the first live, the reason why I came into the first live, which I've said to Vanessa, we've had this conversation, and I had it on the live as well. I did say the way that you spoke to me, the way that you was behaving in the first place, was the reason why I jumped into the live. And it's come to my knowledge that basically a lot of people are saying that's just generally how she conducts herself with people when she feels challenged or threatened, or however you want to term it. So I was thinking maybe to try a different approach. Hence why when I don't sit there watching Vanessa's lives, believe me or not. I will, if the notification comes up and says she's live now and I'm free at the time, I'll jump in and then I'll make my presence known and then I'll jump in the live. I don't just sit there watching her lives. So there's that. And then I think the last time when I jumped in the live, I didn't just go straight in. I watched it briefly for a moment and then I went in. And it seemed to be okay. Apart from delay, somebody was challenging her about blood types or something to do with that effect.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, well, tell me about blood types. Now, I saw that take place before I got on the live. So when I got on the live, that's when I was like, explain it to me. And she explained it to me. And she did rather well. So, and that's why I said, if you speak to me, if you speak to everybody how you just spoken to me, it's not a conflict. You've changed the whole entire interaction. It becomes a hell of a lot more pleasant. It's a lot more informative. It becomes educational. People are going to just want to hear more. Even if they don't agree, they're still going to want to hear what you've got to say. But if you take the other approach, it's just automatically you're at war. Like, it's just a war thing. And I'm saying, if you just change your approach, it changes everything. Like, let's try it differently. That's what I was just trying to
Yeah.
put across. Zakov says, I'm not here to bash Vanessa in the slightest. You guys even said that that's not how you feel towards her in that respect. You just respond to things. So I'm saying, moving forward, like, if you do it in a positive way, let's do things in a positive way. Let's just like whatnot. But at some point it got to the point where what's the live, so everybody saw it. But she said it's a platform, and if somebody comes at her, then she's entitled to respond how she wants to, and blah blah blah. And
So I've been watching Vanessa for, I don't know, like 2.5, possibly 3 years, and I have seen so many different versions of this person.
yeah,
And the one thing that really gets me is I've seen her do the drugs. I've seen it with my own eyes. And she flat out says, I don't do drugs. I seen it.
okay.
How are you gonna tell me that you don't do drugs when I flat out seen you do it? Well, that's not me.
Yeah. So that's a whole, that's another topic. I
Now,
want to
if
ask
she
you,
was like
have
to
you?
go, oh yes, I have done drugs in the past, but I've been sober for whatever days. Hey, great, congratulations, more power to you. Let me stand behind you and help you out. But when you just flat out deny it, that you've never done drugs in your whole entire life, I have a problem with that.
And that's just one reason where a lot of people have a problem with her, that she just won't take responsibility for things that she's done in the past and say, you know what? Yes, I messed up. I did this. I don't want to do that anymore. Instead, she keeps denying it, and then she attacks people that say, "But you've done it. We've seen you on video."
And I
Why?
don't know who the real Vanessa is because, like I said, I've seen so many different versions, or I don't know, personalities. I don't know. Does she have multiple personalities? I don't know. Maybe. Especially when she goes live and she has different accents and she does whacked out stuff on lives like coffee with a
And
corpse.
that's
Okay, that's
and
if
that's
you
something that's something new that has come up with her, where she seems like these other accents or dialects come out, and
yeah.
you may not notice it so much because you haven't watched her for as long
I
as we have.
haven't really experienced that.
Yeah, but she's come out with these other. She'll change the way she speaks, like physically change, so that
Yeah.
the words come out
And
different.
the racism, that's another thing that just gets to me.
Well, that's gotten worse and worse as well. But I guess the thing I wanted you to understand, and I know some people don't like her, and some people may hate her, some just viewers that don't like watching her, but they just keep watching, and you can't help it. People compare it to watching a train wreck or a big crash on the autobahn. That you want to
You know
see
what?
what she's going to say next and what happens, and people have a problem. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. This goes back to when she first started getting online years ago. I want to say it's 6 years ago, roughly.
Okay.
And she, in a sense, forced the public to be involved and watch me. Look what's happening to me. I'm a victim of this. I got arrested. It's not my fault. And she would go on live 3 or 4 times a day, explaining what happened to her today. And, I got arrested and they're doing this to me and they're doing this to me. And of course, everybody's like, "Oh man, I got to tune in tomorrow. What's happening? Now what happened today? And what's happening today?"
Mm.
She made people legitimately sympathetic towards her. And to a certain point, I get it. She has kids, and they were, she had an issue where it happened. Actually, today's the 2-year anniversary, I think, of an incident that happened where she was arrested and her kids were removed from her. And I know some people are celebrating that, but I don't celebrate that stuff. That's not a nice thing to celebrate.
Absolutely not.
But she makes it a point to get everybody very interested in her life and what's going on in her life. So people get interested, and more people get interested. It's like a soap opera, right? And so many people interested day in and day out. She's going live 3, 4, 5 times a day. And what happened to her, or why did she get arrested, or she's in court, or what she's having for lunch, and it just becomes this big drama. And then all these court cases, she's got things happening. Well, everybody wants to know, well, how are they going to turn out? What's going to happen? What's happening in court? So everyone is captivated and very interested in what happens to her. A lot of people would prefer that she come clean and say, "Look, I did that and I did this. I messed up. I'm a human. Ain't nobody's perfect. None of us are perfect.
I know I'm not.
I messed up." People want her to take accountability for the things instead of playing the victim all the time. She says police gave her arrest.
Yeah, they gave me my first arrest when they found out that I was in law school. They gave me my second arrest. They gave me my third arrest. No, they don't give them to you. You do something to get them.
Yeah, so people start, "Oh man, she's, why can't she just say, yeah, I got arrested, I did this, or I stole that, or I did this." And that's one thing where people are like, "Well, now we're interested. Now I want to know what's going to happen." That's why we keep watching. So people watch. She gets triggered by people laughing at her, or the laughing emojis. I don't know if you noticed that. She would address any negative comment. She will address it. And lately, she gets triggered by that. And if you put a laughing emoji, she will question you, ridicule you, and then eventually she'll block you. So what happens now, there's so many people that she's blocked. and they can't watch her because they're blocked from her page. So pages like mine or before me it was someone else, and then there's No More Cheeski's Lives, and now there's another one called what is it?
The Ultimate Deception.
Ultimate Deception, and they show her videos. That's the only way they can watch her. You know, they're interested. They want to know what's happening, but she's got everybody blocked. So that's that whole side of it. So you can understand that a little bit more. That, you know, people would like to, you know, they're vested. They spend many hours, many years following her, watching her every day. You know, it's like an investment. It's like, yeah, it's
right.
So
what do people want to see? That's one thing that I've wondered. Like, what from this side of the fence, what exactly? Have you ever done a poll? Have you ever done like a poll to see what it is? Because that's what at some point I'm going to go live, because I'll speak to someone that says that I should do lives. I should like do my own live streams and that, which I definitely am going to do. Now that I've spoken to you guys, and obviously I spoke to Vanessa and other people, I'm thinking, yeah, I might as well, because why not? But if at some point when I get a platform like you guys, I'm going to do polls, and I'm going to be asking like certain questions. But my thing is, have you guys not done a poll to figure out exactly what it is people would most like to see happen, take place, what they're trying to achieve? Because as much as you're feeling disgruntled, there must be some efforts that can be made towards a peaceful resolution. So I'd be asking that question. What is it that people would most like from this camp? What would they like to see take place? Like, what do you know? Because I'm trying to say, like, what is it that would most would appease the masses the most? What would be the first step to? Because there's got to be a way that this can be resolved. Like, I mean,
and we know what that is, but we know it's not going to happen.
Okay, and what is that?
What is that? Is for her saying, yes, I did this. Yes, I did this, or yes, I did this, and this is what happened here, and this is what happened here, and yes, it's my fault for this. These things, I got arrested because of me, not because law enforcement is evil and has a thing against her. That's her thing, that she's the victim. We hate hearing that she's a victim for everything, every day of her life. You know, she had a video, well, she said it a couple times, where she claims that she's the most hated woman in America, and she's on, what did she say, Bam? That she's like at risk to be assassinated or something like that?
Oh, yeah. Well, people want to assassinate her because of her political views.
Yeah. And that has come out. Absolutely not true. That's absolutely not true. There's no evidence of that anywhere. And people, I'll be honest with you, people would just like for her to come out and say, yes, you know, my kids are gone because of this. And yes, I abuse drugs, and I need to get treatment. I need help. And if she took that kind of an angle at things, this would be a totally different situation that we're talking about right now. She would have a lot more sincere sympathy. And I mean, some people will still hate. I'm not going to lie. People are going to hate. I hate her because she blocked me.
And she hates. Believe it or not, she does. She hates white women. God, does she hate white women?
Wow, that's strong.
Yeah,
because I guess her father left her mother for a white woman. So I guess that really started or fueled the whole hate of I hate white women.
Yes, it is. Yeah. No, the father left and had an affair with a woman, Anglo, a white woman. And then I believe they're still together and married. And so that's a fact. However, we actually believe maybe that's where some of this anti-white talk comes from on her part. Although she will never admit that. You know, and I have a standing invitation that I've put out there. People I hope they've mentioned it to her. I'm like, come and talk to me. None of the insults and the comments. I'm not going to show none of that stuff. People don't like it. Let's just talk, me and you. And, you know, people have questions that they would like you to answer. And perhaps you want to say something on your behalf without any kind of hate or any of that. And I mean, she's never answered it. And my door is still open for that if she would ever wanted to hit that. but it's a lot of what she says is, again, it's just not accepting responsibility and not being accountable for things. And that, the answer to your question, that there would be one step, and that would be a very first step that people would want from her. Is it going to happen? I don't think so. I think she's in a comfortable position. Again, this is my opinion.
I think she has too much pride.
A lot of pride. She's a Hispanic woman. Hispanic people have a pride problem, and I think that's something that she'll never do. But I think that would be a small one, but a significant first step if she would ever want to change the climate, of the crowd that's, we'll call it, against her. So, and that's why I wanted these, there's a lot there that she doesn't want people to listen to pages like mine and the other pages, because we actually state, there are a lot of people who do research on her. There are investigators who research and go to court and pull documents from the courtroom, and they know what happened. They talk to people. They know what happened. And that's the truth. A lot of these things that are said on all these pages are facts. And that's why
this is interesting. This is because, like, what's that saying got only in America? Yeah, but remember, for me, this is just like someone's got a live, and then there's people that are in a different camp of opposition that they just don't agree with whatever the points are. Okay, granted. Then now it's like you've got investigators that go into court, they pull documents. Like, this is some like Batman, DC, Marvel. This is like,
yeah, but do you understand? But do you understand why that happened, though? That happens because she would make claims that are so ridiculous. The legal system is against her. Like, how can it be? Every time she goes to court, the legal system is against her, or the law enforcement officers are corrupt. How can that be? How can that be? And that's why people started having a bigger interest. Oh, let's see what's going on in court. So they start going to court. Here in America, you can go to any courtroom in the country and sit and watch. That's your right as an American citizen, to go and watch any courtroom interaction. People started doing that, and they started reporting back. Well, she went, the judge said this, and then she said this, and the judge said that, and her attorney said this. Not what she's saying in her car afterwards, which was something totally different.
So one thing I've learned by watching Vanessa is, if you disagree with her, you're a hater.
Oh, yeah. If you disagree in the least, you're the opposition.
Where in all reality, you're not really disagreeing with her. You are actually telling the truth, where she is smudging the truth to lean more towards in favor of her.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's perfect. Don't get me wrong. I mean, trust me. I have skeletons in my closet that, I've locked up, chained up, boarded the doors shut, that nobody's going to find them motherfuckers.
He does, yeah.
I understand. That's why, if you recall things I've said in the live, I've said the same thing. I said, no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not an angel. Never have been. Yeah. I just try to be better than I was yesterday, if that makes any sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Every day, you just keep trying to be better. And we all make mistakes. We all fall. We still make mistakes. It's a part of life. But the point, well, I can't speak for anybody but myself, but I personally, if I make a mistake, something I learned to do is, if you make a mistake, just put your hand up straight away. People can forgive a bad mistake, but they tend not to be able to forgive a bad character. So for me, I just put my hand up quickly. Like, look, it was me. I did it. This is what happened.
Well, we have a saying over here, I don't know, and probably really close to what y'all say over on that side is, it's better to ask for forgiveness than for permission. So, if you do something, say, yep, I fucked up, boss. Yep, never happen again.
Yeah, I've been told, like, in my work experience, because I will just put my hand up. It's easy for a problem to be fixed, as opposed to, you haven't said anything about it. The problem can fester, becomes something that didn't need to be, then it becomes unfixable. All of that could have been prevented if somebody just put their hand up and says, look, this is what it is. So I tend to take that approach if I'm honest. And that's the reason why my approach when I spoke to Vanessa initially was it came down from what it was supposed to be. It was going to be to let's just be positive. Don't focus on negativity. Don't respond to so-called haters, even though at the time I just said haters. Because obviously I only knew one side. When you hear other sides and other perspectives, you get a broader picture. You get to see things slightly different. Within our culture, especially like grandparents and parents, and going back up anyway, what's happening is if there's an incident that takes place, you'd go and speak to somebody about it because they're going to give you a different perspective that you possibly can't see because you're so emotionally invested into that situation or scenario. So by getting the opinion of your peers and older heads, they'll say, well, in the instant, you're probably right, but in the overall picture, you're actually wrong because X, Y, and Z, or the reverse, or guess what? You're just wrong. Can you see what I'm trying to say? Like, just the fact that you went to go and get some wisdom, guidance from somebody who's either your peer or above, somebody who you respect, so to speak, or who is respected within the community, that type of thing there. So for me, it's a lot easier to see a situation outside of myself and to then say I was right, I was wrong, or whatnot. And it's not a problem for me to go and apologize to someone if you're wrong. In fact, it's easier for me to apologize than it is for me to not apologize. If that makes sense, because I've got a conscience. I've got a conscience, and my conscience it will bother me. And then it's just like, bro, you did wrong. You could have just you didn't have to. There's times when I've walked past somebody who's homeless, and like I'm like, bro, you do have that change, or you're about to go to the cash point, the ATM, you're about to go and get something. Like you can, like it's not the end of the world. You can go and help. It's not what you're assuming. It just might not be that. There might genuinely be in need. Don't get me wrong. I've seen others out there who come and ask you for money, and then all of a sudden, someone pops out from somewhere they're asking you for it. When you pay attention, it's because that person's just told that person to come to you to go and get the money. So there's times where you are being mugged off, and there's times where it's genuine. You have to use your own skills of discernment to figure out which is which. But there's times when I haven't, and my conscience is like, bro, you should have gave him some money. You should have gave him someone. Can you see what I'm trying to say? So within your own self, you tend to know the good and the bad, the right and the wrong. So when you make a mistake, you should have the same thing. I've been in a situation myself where I've done wrong, and it's pride alone why I haven't made it right. I haven't said, you know what, my bad, hands up, I made the mistake. It's like, I'm too proud for it, I can't do it. And that's obviously my younger years. But now I'm just trying to move more appropriate, especially age appropriate. So when I'm speaking to Vanessa, I'm not trying to come with a whole, because for example, the work that I do with young people, well, I have done for years, but now I'm the manager, so the team does it.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, what is that work that you do? Because you did mention that when you were live for the first time.
How many people are watching you live at the moment?
About 225.
Or at least, yeah.
When it gets to, say about 5,000, I'll tell you. I'm only joking.
Oh, okay.
Nah, I work with young people with challenging behaviour. They come from disengaged, disenfranchised backgrounds, to be honest. Yeah, so we work with young people who've got challenging behaviour in schools, youth organisations, the community. We get referrals from the police, social services, youth offending team, things like that. So basically, in a nutshell, that's what I do. From the ages of 11 to 18, currently on my program. Because it's about five different programs. Got about 5 different programs that our company has, but mine's, yeah. So
I wanted to ask you something real quick. Without, and I don't mean this as a joke. Do you see any parallels in some of the people that you deal with, the kids that you deal with, and Vanessa's attitude? Any parallels there? Because a lot of us.
Do you mean similarities?
Or similarities?
I hear what you're saying. I'm just trying to.
Because a lot of people feel she's very immature the way she deals with people in the chat room, in the comments, for example. And a lot of people have said, it's been said 1 billion times. So juvenile, so childish. It's so childish.
The thing is, in all honesty, the reason why I'm going to say no is this. I've very recently discovered Vanessa. It feels like, obviously, it feels like this has been, I've been involved in this, it's been taking place for like 6 months, but it actually hasn't. It's been like, what, a week, 2 weeks, something like that. So
right.
It's not,
yeah.
It's not long. And the times that I have interacted, remember, I don't watch Vanessa's lives. I've only interacted with her when you've seen me interact with her. The one occasion the last occasion I jumped in after the live had started, but I only observed for probably not for very long. But then, my point, yeah. But then I can't say. Remember, I've only seen what you've seen me see, and you guys are saying that's a different Vanessa. So the other side that you guys speak on, I haven't seen that, so I can't comment on it. If that makes sense.
Sure.
But some of the issues that have been raised, if I'm honest, which isn't a case of parallels between who she is and the young people that I work with, because I haven't seen that parallel in that respect at all. I've just seen Vanessa that you've seen me see. In terms of, and like I said to Vanessa, because when I said on the live, I said, have you ever apologized? And she said no. And I was just like, okay. And I think that's more of a defense mechanism, because she has apologized. I know she's apologized because she apologized to me. So I'm like, if you've said no, but you have apologized to me, so clearly that can't be the case. So, but then I could be wrong. She could be telling the complete truth. Obviously, I'm going to see the positive until I'm shown the negative. I'm always going to be optimistic as opposed to pessimistic. So that's going to be my disposition until I'm shown otherwise. But and then I said, when we spoke about, I said the so-called haters, I says people who you perceive to be haters. We had that conversation as well. What I was trying to drive at was that just because someone has a difference of opinion, that doesn't qualify them as a hater.
Absolutely.
Ordinarily, it doesn't qualify them as a hater. Within normal convention of having a conversation or discourse with someone, and then you've got somebody who opposes your thought process, or whether it's a belief system, whether it's I think that's violet, but I think that's purple. It doesn't matter what it is. Whatever somebody disagrees on, they're entitled to disagree with you. It's their right. Just as it's your right to have an opinion. It's their right to have their opinion, which is opposing to yours. That doesn't make them a hater. So, but then, as we all know, there are people out there who are haters, and they play that position, and they have the right to play that position. Let them play their position. So whenever you heard me say, let's just keep it positive, don't focus on negativity, it's because no matter what you do, you will not get rid of haters. Some people will hate you just because you've gone through the struggle and you are successful. Some people will hate you because you are more successful than them. Some people will hate you and they are way more successful than you. You cannot stop haters, let them do their job. But like I said to Vanessa initially, I says, not everybody's a hater. And then she mentioned something about if they're haters, then they're not genuine, and they were never genuine. And that's why I was like, I can't agree with that logic, because me and Vanessa will talk and we'll be okay, but we didn't start out as friends that were genuine. When we initially made contact, I was going to take her to town, because I was thinking, how dare you respond to me like that, to such an extreme? Because if you watch the live, initially her response to me wasn't pleasant, and then it was like, who do you think you are, especially being an African American man, X, Y, and Z, come on my live if you're that special, come on my live. So at every point I was just like, that's why I put in the chat, you don't even know me because you call me African American. Bro, I've never been to America, so how did we get there?
Right.
And I wasn't trying to argue for the sake of arguing. I was just thinking, you're making statements and they're incorrect, and you're making it publicly and people can hear it. So I jumped on to kind of like make those corrections. So hence why I started. That's why I was like, I came in guns blazing, but then obviously when she heard my accent, and then that just paused her in her tracks. Some people say, "Oh, as soon as she saw you, she heard your accent," and blah blah blah. I'm just like, okay, whatever that is. But
I have the same pleasure of going live with her once, and she did the same thing with me.
Yeah.
Now, me being who I am, when you push me back against a wall, I'm going to fight back, and I'm going to push back. And I did. I pushed back 10 times harder than she did. But I know where you're coming from, where, instantly she starts attacking you. Like, who the F do you think you are? And why are you doing this? And why are you doing that? And that's part of her MO. I mean, that's how she is. She comes off as a hater herself.
But that's the thing. That's what I've been told since then. Obviously before the last stream, but since then, since the initial live, I was told that's basically how she conducts herself with people. And I was just like, okay, well.
It's 10 times worse when she starts digging into her your comments, and then she'll go to your profile and look at your profile and show all your family pictures on to everybody and go, oh, look at this person. How could you even marry this person? Look how ugly they are. And it's like, wow. I mean,
yeah. Have you seen that side of her yet, where she will?
I haven't, and I've heard of it. I've also heard of other things as well, like people losing jobs and stuff. But that's why I was like, when I jumped on the next live, I'm not gonna then turn around and say, look, I've been told you've been doing all of these things and X, Y, like there's a way to go about doing things, and to make progress sometimes there's a way to go about doing it. So if you paid attention, not you per se, but if people paying attention to what I was trying to do, I was trying to change Vanessa's approach to interacting with people, because that's what I was saying. You're explaining about something which is an interesting topic. I've always been interested in biology and things like that. You're knowledgeable. When you conduct yourself like this, people want to listen. You will have a fight. If you just had a live explaining things about the medical profession, just general information, you'd have billions of followers. People are just going to want to listen because everybody's interested in healthcare, believe it or not. Little things like that. So if you were doing that as opposed to how dare you and X, Y's and Z's, it would be a completely different thing. Don't get me wrong, she tends to be a freedom fighter, so to speak, and like she's got that side to her, which is pretty cool, because she like tries to support people that go through bullying and things like that, which is great. It's a great quality and a great thing that she does. There's no two ways about it. But
it kind of defeats the purpose when she can be equally a huge bully to a lot of people that comment and watch her.
And that there in of itself is something that, me being me, it's like when I'm working with a person, with a young person, it'd be the same difference. I'm going to focus on the positives and move away from the negatives. So it's a case of, okay, we understand what it is, okay, but we're not going to dwell on it. So we've addressed it. We know what we don't want to do. We move towards what we do want to do. And there's a way to deal with things. If you're getting a lot of negativity, you can identify what things are, fix them and move on. But you don't dwell on it. If people are constantly bashing, ignore them. But if you're going to keep turning around and fighting, then you're going to be forever fighting. And you can only dedicate so much of your time in your life to do so many things. So if you just focus those on positives, just move in that direction, and you should reap positive rewards. So that's the kind of direction I was coming from with Vanessa. If that makes sense. It's not a case of like focusing on all your negatives. It's like, okay, there are negatives. Let's move in a positive way. But part of that process that I personally had to go through myself is you have to confront certain things that you've done. And this is me. Everybody's different. Some people possibly don't do that and what I'm not. But for me personally, especially with the young people that I've worked with, and remember, I always ask for we request the young people. When we go into a school, we request for the young people with the most challenging behaviour. If we go into the youth organisations, it's the exact same. So if you want, we specialise in work with young people with challenging behaviours. So a part of that process is you have to confront the issues, which are clearly the issues, to then make that progress. You can't be in denial about it, because it's hard to make the progress if you're trying to say that issues don't exist. Personally, for me, that's in my personal experience, and that's working with other young people. I remember at one point when I was struggling with depression, I had to actually admit to myself that I was depressed before I could actually do something about the depression that I was in.
Yeah.
Then you have to then figure out, well, what is it you're depressed about? Then you have to figure out, well, how did things come to be that way? Then you have to figure out, well, what contributed, what are the individual factors that contributed to this situation for it to get to the point where it's terrible, to the point where I'm just depressed about it. You see what I'm trying to say? What else is contributing to this level of depression? How come it's so deep and so dark? Do you know what I mean? You can't just say, okay, right, I'm just going to do this positively and everything gets fixed. You can't put a band-aid on a broken leg. You're not going to achieve what it is you'd like to. You're not going to be able to move very far, very quickly. So for me, it's a case of one step at a time, but always believing that things can be resolved and we can move forward in a positive way. So that's me in a nutshell. And I'm not saying anything that I wouldn't say to Vanessa or haven't said to Vanessa, or I'm a pretty open person, to be honest. So yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yes, it certainly does, and it does make sense. And I remember, I just want to go to one of the comments you made to her, you know, when she was addressing some of the comments, and you said, why are you paying attention to that? And she spent so much time. For example, I recall this, a year ago, just over a year ago, we had a situation where there was a shooting at an elementary school here, and a lot of young people were killed. Uvalde, Texas, right?
Okay.
And she went on and on about that for days and days and days. I mean, accusing the police officers. Now, she wasn't 100% wrong. There was a lack of
communication
and just a what to do. So some lives could have been saved. So she was spot on with that. However, to start with those accusations the day of and the day after the tragedy, when people, parents are still, and the community was still in a shock over what happened, and she just attacked everyone and law enforcement, and it was ugly. It was an ugly thing.
Okay.
So I lost my train of thought. Where were they going with this, Bam?
Well, she was essentially calling the cops murderers, and she, because the cops did not do their job. They allowed the shooter to murder all the everybody there, the 9 children and the 2 teachers, I think it was. I cannot honestly remember.
19 children, and two teachers.
She said the 16 cops, or how many ever cops there was, need to be brought up on murder charges. And she was throwing that around like she was there and she witnessed the whole thing. It's like,
people we were watching her, and she was describing everything as if she were there on the scene.
Oh, yeah.
As it happened. And she was calling out police officers by name, saying their last names, and it just got...
and the one cop that took all the other reinforcements away from where they should be to save his family.
Yeah, she accused one officer of leaving his post and only rescuing his own children. And of course, none of that was true. And were there mistakes made?
Absolutely.
Huge. It was a horrible, horrible situation. That should have been... Anyway, but that's a whole other show.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what I was getting at with that. If I can remember it, I'll get back to that. We did have a lot of questions here, and one of them is a legit question I had, and I was going to have that for you, and then somebody brought it up. People seem to like you. They're like, "Hey, this guy's cool. He's got Vanessa's attention."
I like
Vanessa also. Yeah, even Bam, like, hey, he seems pretty cool. And I'm like, so we were like, is he legit? It seemed like it. That's a change. She calmed down. Although a lot of people don't believe that, but she did. So the question came up people started thinking you were shady when you brought up the GoFundMe. So my question is,
that's funny. I like that.
Did you bring that up, or was that something you were reading in the comments?
No,
because people were like, he just wants money.
No, that was me. Right. That was me.
Okay.
Yeah, I told you I'm gonna put my hand up. I'm gonna admit to everything. It's not a problem for me. When I said that, the logic behind that was, if you've got, I can't remember, is it like 70,000 followers or something like that?
55,000 or something like that.
If you've got so many followers, logically, and they say that they're supporters, like they're supporters of you, $1 from each supporter, even $1 from 10% of your supporters would be what? 7,500. So if they put $1 in, wouldn't that cover my flight and hotel and all the rest of it? It's not because
at least your flight and hotel, I don't think it'd cover food.
I'd only be staying for 2 days. I'm only joking. But the thing is that it was just a case of, because obviously I studied marketing for a little bit, so it's just a case of putting it out there. It was just, if you guys are so keen for me to come out and meet Vanessa X, Y, and Z, put your money where your mouth is. So if there's so many of you and you will put $1 in, that should sort out everything, really. That's just me. What do we say in England? Taking the piss. That's me having.
And I get it. And now, just so you know, down here, that's a bit of a because there are some individuals who do exactly what you said.
Really?
And they are constantly on the take for GoFundMe. Oh, there's 200 people here. Everybody just $1. Everybody.
Wow.
So when you said that, it was like, oh boy, another one of these guys. It was like,
you know what, man?
So it rubbed everybody the wrong way. Yeah.
Do you know what the joke is? I personally, if I was gonna, personally, I pay my own way. So if I'm going somewhere, I'm paying my own way. I wouldn't do that. That's why I did it, because I wouldn't do that, if that makes sense. I work, I pay taxes, I don't do that whole GoFundMe. If I'm gonna come up with something that's great, I'd sell something that's great. Does that make sense? I'm not just gonna say GoFundMe. Like, my mum's always worked, my dad's always worked. I've only been exposed to that way of earning a living. Do you know what I mean? I'll sit down in poverty before I'll go and try and do something illegal. That way inclined. So I understand what you guys are saying, but that's not me. I'm too proud for that, if I'm honest.
Okay, now I do get it, where people are saying, yeah, come over, come on, come take the trip.
Yeah.
And if they take it upon themselves to say, you know what, let's start GoFundMe, let's get him over here. Let's say, hey, I got $5,000 for you. Once you come, we'll pay for your ticket from this money and take care of your meals. I get that. I get that. If people want you to come and do that.
If that's different. That's different. If they're like, we want you to come and we've raised this, blah, 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 I'd still have quite a lot of questions, because you don't just. I'm black. One of my first questions is it black friendly? Like, I'm just saying it dead straight. I've been to certain places in Europe. Before I've been there, I'm like, is it black friendly? I've been to Poland. I've been to Spain twice. Been to Mallorca. My first question is it black friendly? Because I'm not gonna go and put myself in a stupid situation, and I didn't ask. So I wouldn't just even, we've got £5,000 we've raised, whatever. Peter. I'm like, yeah, but where exactly are you expecting me to go? What exactly are you gonna expect me to do? Like, how does it work? I'm not just, so even if that was the case, it wouldn't just be yay. I'm just not. Do you know what I mean? Like, certain questions and things that would be asked, even if that were to be the case. But that aside, I'd pay my own way. I'd pay my own way.
Yeah, and just so you know, Texas is black friendly.
No, they're not. What are you talking about?
Shut up, man. A lot of the United States, a lot of the U.S. gets a bad rap.
Yeah,
but there are people who create this racism that really isn't there.
Yeah, it's the Democrats.
I'm born and raised in Chicago, and I've only moved to Texas about 22 years ago.
Yeah,
and I was back there recently, and there were mixed races, couples together. Just it's a melting pot, and And I do understand there is racism in this country. Like if you were going to Alabama, then I'd say, okay, hold on a second. What part of Alabama? What month are you going? You know, there are places where
And
you don't want to
ironically,
be.
it sounds stupid, but like, Alabama, I don't know what it is. I would like to go there. I don't know if it's because of like historical occurrences and things like that. Certain places I do find slightly interesting. So, well, not slightly interesting. So I probably would want to go there. I'm not saying I want to stay there for 6 weeks straight. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going that far.
No,
But
you
there
don't.
are, no,
Yeah.
no,
I don't even
no,
want to be there for 6 weeks straight. Yeah.
I have a hard time being there for 6 hours.
Yes.
there
Yeah.
there
Sometimes
you
just
go.
driving through, stop for a meal, and then keep driving, and that's the extent of it.
Yeah, depending on what part of Alabama. I mean, Huntsville is okay, but I mean, if you're in the southern part where all the swamps and everything are, yeah, forget it. I mean,
Okay.
it's disgusting. It's just buggy. It's hot. It's humid. It's moist. It's gross.
Everything at once.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
everything. And
it's like
there's
being in Australia in July, if you've ever been
Okay.
there.
No, but one of my best friends lives in Australia with his wife and kids. So yeah.
yeah, and there's there are places in the United States. Granted, the smaller communities do have like a deep-seated racist history, and people are still, the organizations like the KKK, if you know what that is,
Yeah, of course.
still
Mississippi
exist,
burning
and
all
they
over again.
yeah, and so that does happen. But Texas, the part that you would be coming to, down whether it's Brownsville, McAllen, south of San Antonio, Houston,
Mm.
you have no worries at all whatsoever. Even if you're driving through it up and down, it's not like that at all. And for some reason, people like to create hate where there isn't.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'd like to believe that, the majority of the United States is race free. I mean, racism free. I mean, I was always brought up where there's only one race on this planet, and it's the human race. We don't care
Yeah.
if you're orange, purple, green, whatever. Color is not even on the spectrum for me.
Mm.
It's just, but in some cities and some states, it really is there.
Of
I
course,
hate to admit it,
Johnny,
but it's there.
you find it everywhere. You find it here. There isn't a place. I don't think there's a place on Earth that it's not there. It exists everywhere. You find it in Africa as well. And there just isn't any place where you're not going to find racism, to be honest. So it's not really that that I'm fully aware of. In England, you're definitely going to find it. And I can't say the whole entire police force is racist because that's just stupid. It's a stupid concept, but it's everywhere. You will find it. You will find officers. You just find it everywhere, no matter where you go.
Yeah.
You'll have neighbors that you've spoken to for years, not realizing deep down.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? Like it's not a new thing.
Just recently, I started saying police are like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. You're going to get that nice cop. You're going to get that asshole cop. You're going to get that racist cop. You're going to get that power trip cop. You don't know.
You don't.
I'd like to believe that the majority of them are there to help you. But there's always that 1, 2, or 3 that aren't.
But that being said, though, on that same said note, when you think about it logically, you can apply that to the police, but then you can apply that to every individual on the planet.
Oh, absolutely, you could.
Can you see what I'm trying to say? So that's what I'm trying to say. I can't have such tunnel vision and be so one-dimensional. You'll find, like, within every race, you're going to find how people have a racist disposition towards other races. It's not something that is probably going anywhere anytime soon. Things have got better over time, or possibly just more covert. But things are just what they are, to be honest.
So another thing I wanted to jump over to when I referred to it earlier, people were sending you a lot of links. Oh, you got to watch this video. Oh, you got to watch that video.
Yeah, there's a lot.
How many of those did you actually watch? And if you
initially, I didn't really go on the links. But when people sent like videos and things like that, I watched a few of them, and then that's when I spoke to Vanessa directly. I was just like, okay, well,
yeah.
I sent it to her. I says, look, I sent one in particular. Was it one? or two. I can't think. I maybe sent 1 or 2 to her, and then we had a discussion about them. And I think I said no. I did say. I'm trying to think of the conversation, but I know that I did say to her, I'm not interested in those things in of themselves like that. I'm more interested in you as a person. So I'm not going to dwell, because obviously going back to what I've been saying, I live by what I've been saying since ever. I'm not interested in what you did. I'm interested in who you are and what you're going to do. So you've done X, Y, and Z. Okay. Everybody's done, like, the amount of people that I've come across in my life that I've had certain walks of life, that have been involved in X, Y's, and Z's, even at the time when I've met them, or they'll regress back to doing certain things. And the fact that I am the way that I am has helped them to get over certain hurdles, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
A non-judgmental approach, that type of thing. Because me, myself, I remember when I was struggling when I used to smoke weed. Oh my life. Copious amounts of weed. And when I was doing that, and I'd have family members who would get on to me about it, and they'd be like, don't do it, why are you doing it, stop doing it. Because I had unresolved issues myself, the weed was a mask. It cover it up, so to speak. And when you keep doing that and you're not actually getting to the root cause, and you're not actually solving the initial issue, that mask is wonderful. But every day I'll be quitting. I'm quitting every day right today. This is like, I was sitting there. It even got to the point where I'll be halfway through, and then I'll be like, I don't want to do this anymore. Because the point where you did it because it was for fun, it's now got past that point. Now you're doing it because it's out of necessity, because you're stressing over something. And then you're doing it and you're doing it. And then you get to the point where you used to do this for fun, you enjoyed it, but now you're doing it to mask your issue. And then it gets to the point where it's like, I don't even want to do this anymore, because it's not fun like it used to be. It's not a pastime hobby. It's a case of, I'm distressed about something, but it hasn't been resolved. I haven't resolved it. And this is what I'm doing, because it takes the edge off. But then after a while, it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then you'll say, right, that's it, I'm quitting. So every night I was quitting. Come the next morning, you get to work, not even 15 minutes later, somebody's annoyed you, they've really got on your nerves. You're more like, right, that's it, as soon as I get home. And then that cycle continues, and it continues, and it continues, until you get to that point where you're just like, do you know what? But before you get to that point where you actually do quit, in the meantime, in the interim, when you've got family members or peers or whoever who are on your case trying to get you to stop without actually understanding why you're doing it, it makes you dig your heels in, and you'll go into it even more, because now they become an additional stress, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
they
sure
become
does.
So because of that, you go into it even more. So my approach to people isn't, what did you do, how could you do it, how, I can't believe you did that, blah blah blah. It's not that. It's more a case of, okay, so moving forward, moving on, let's move on, let's move forward. It's that mentality, it's that approach. And then because of that, a lot of people have found it easy to either discontinue what they're doing, which isn't productive in their life, or it helps them make the transition from what they're doing to a more positive outcome. So
yeah.
that's the approach that I tend to take.
Do you believe in, and I mean, you actually just said it. I don't know if you've heard of what the Alcoholics Anonymous or the program is to recovering. And if I'm not mistaken, the first step on the list of
realize
17,
you have
how many
a problem,
steps are there?
or admit
you have to admit
problem.
you have to admit that you have a problem.
That's right, 100%.
And if you cannot do that, then none of it matters, because you're not being true to yourself.
It won't work.
I think that's where people, and that's leading up to this other question was, have you seen that video of her doing her thing on that live? You know what I'm referring to, or do you need to explain it?
No, I think I know which one you mean.
Would that be the one smoking the glass pipe, clothing optional?
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm sorry.
I asked about it.
No, it's okay. And we're not going to show it, and I'm not interested in showing it. None of that stuff. Everyone.
Let's not do that.
No.
Yeah, we spoke about it. And
Did she admit to you that was her doing it, at least?
Because when I brought it up to her on when she brought me live, she goes, "That wasn't me. I don't do drugs." Those were the exact words out of her mouth.
She's admitted it in some situations, and then she started denying it all over the place. And that's one, and not again. It's only everyone's business because she made her life everyone's business. Otherwise, it'd be like, what do we care? Why does she have to explain anything to us? But everyone feels like they're entitled to, like, you know what? I'm invested my time in your life and watching you, so we want to know. That alone, if she would take accountability for it, that's a huge hurdle that would, I don't want to say convert people from haters to non-haters, but people will go, thank you, finally you take accountability. Now what are you going to do to improve yourself? Because that's what people really want, is for her to improve herself. I said this from the very beginning, years ago. If she had her head on straight, political, she could be dangerous. She can talk a mile a minute.
Yeah,
She's got the gift of gab. Or cars, she can sell 1 million cars. Or be in politics, she could talk for hours. And I've always said, if she had her head on straight, she'd be dangerous in the world of politics or government or whatever she wanted to do. But she just, it's like, unfortunately, I don't think she has anybody. You said you got friends and family telling you to help you or telling you to trying to encourage you, but I don't think she has any of that. And I know she thinks of her followers as support, but they're really not. They're more, I see them more as enablers. They're there to watch and to laugh at her instead of really trying to get her help. They support her false claims, and we'll get into some of that a little bit later. And that's where I have a problem with is, okay, anyway, so you know the video we're talking about. And
one of the many that I've seen.
Yeah, and
because after that fact, I visited a few profiles and whatever sites and things, and I saw others, and I was just like, okay. I think in my line of work, because I've pretty much seen it all, it's not really shocking, but at the same time, I think a question that did come to mind.
And at least for me, I'm not going to speak for everyone else. But I know I keep repeating this. For her to take accountability for what she's done would be a huge first step. And I think people would respect her more if she would admit to things and say, you know what? Yes, I have to stop this. I need to get help. I have no one. I don't have family. I don't have anybody, whispering in my ears.
If she started admitting to things, then that could be brought up in court that she did actually smuggle or.
Now, there's that part. Thank you, Bam. I was thinking to myself, in light of, because on the one hand, I've got people messaging me saying she's lost her kids, messaging me saying her family's against her, messaging me saying, what else have they said? They've said things of that nature. And I'm thinking, logically, especially in America, like, anything you do will be used against you. Not can, but most likely just will be used against you. So as much as everybody wants, you see what I'm trying to say? But we're in 2023 and only in America. So I'm saying it will be used against you. So logically, if someone's had their kids taken away from them and they're trying to get them back, and people want that person to admit to doing certain things, wouldn't that be a hindrance? Especially if it's not.
And I understand that.
Even if it's like, I'm assuming that if, I'm going to say this clearly, let's assume, or let's not, but if by chance what we see in videos that are posted is correct, and it took place a good while ago, and then the person no longer conducts themselves in that manner, even admitting to something that they did in the past, would that not still have implications into them trying to get their children back? And if that is the case, would somebody really want them to do that, knowing that they don't do that anymore, and then that's going to jeopardize them getting their kids back? So I'm not saying that she has or she hasn't. I'm just saying, just that scenario that I put out there, and being the person that I am, would I want them to then go through that, which could possibly jeopardize anything positive in the future for them and their children? Me personally, I wouldn't want that. So as much as I get what you're saying, if the kids weren't in the equation, then what you're saying, if she had no children at all, then I'd be probably thinking about things slightly different on that premise, just because it's like, well,
sure. Well, from my understanding, and Manny, correct me if I'm wrong here, didn't she not already sign away all parental rights to her children?
That's the question right now, whether she did or she didn't. She did speak of giving up her parental rights completely, but that's not yet confirmed. I don't think it's happened. I don't know the facts on that. My point with that is court of law. I mean, if all this would have happened in a timely manner, it would have been better for her to say, yes, I had this problem. Help me, send me to treatment. I want to set my life straight.
Absolutely.
At the very beginning, from the initial, judicial process for her. But between her and her attorneys, they've delayed this for such a long time, and over years and years and months, she keeps denying that she ever did it. Meanwhile, these videos are being sent to judges and attorneys, and look. I think time, although she thinks it's helping, that she's delaying all these cases against her, I think it's really hurting her more, because it's given the legal system a chance to, even though they shouldn't look at it, but they look at it. Oh, this is her activities the last few months and the last few years. Look at this.
Well, this is what I'm trying to say. So it's like exactly what you just said. But because there's children involved, and those could possibly be implications, or should I say, what you just said about wanting, you've got viewers that would want her to admit to doing X, Y, and Z. Knowing that could have an impact of her having her kids, especially if that's not something that she does. I personally wouldn't be saying go and do that, because that's just like, how do you guys term it? It's like snitching on yourself. But what would be the gain of that, apart from appeasing people that are in a camp that's against you? What would apart from that, what would there be to gain from doing that? Does that make sense? I'm just trying to think logically. I'm not trying, because like I said, I'm not here to bash Vanessa in the slightest. I genuinely not, because if that was the case, I wouldn't have been trying to be as positive as I have done from the onset, and I wouldn't have. Everybody's seen what I'm trying to do, so I'm trying to just make things better for everybody. And it's not like we don't believe that. We all know that her potential is phenomenal, and like she can, like, I'm not saying that she's doing terribly, but she could go way beyond. She's got the potential to do that. She's knowledgeable. She knows stuff. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean I condone inappropriate behaviour. I'm not here to do that either. But I'm just saying, hence why I've just said positivity, good things, because inappropriate behaviour is not positive. So that's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, because remember, I was the one that asked the question. I said to you guys, what steps could be taken to appease the masses in terms of making positive progress moving forward? I asked that question, so it's not like you've just thrown it on me.
Yeah.
And that's the answer that you've given, and I have to respect the answer that you've given.
And it wouldn't only be just to appease the public, but it would also go a long way to the judge, the attorneys, finally she wants to take accountability, and I think that goes a long way. Admitting it and say, you know what, let me get some help. Get me some help. I want to fix things. I want to fix my life first of all, and eventually, hopefully, get visit my daughters, and then eventually maybe get some kind of custody. And I want to do that. So yes, I did this, and I shouldn't have. And however she wants to say it, you admit it, and that's the first step. And can it use against her? Sure. So suppose you get the right attorney on the opposite side, and they're gonna go, see, she was a this and that, and she did this and she did that. That's why she shouldn't have her kids. Yeah, but that was 2 years ago. Maybe she's clean for the last year or 18 months or whatever it is. And
wouldn't that be
I think it'd be better if she would just take responsibility for it. And again, does she have to tell the public? No, it's really not our business. But we feel it is our business because she's put her life on display, almost from day one, 6 or 7 years ago. That's why everyone feels entitled to, yeah, you know what? I am interested. What's going on? I do. We almost feel like extended friends or family or something, that we know so much about her life from what she's put out there online. And I know that's wrong. People do other things. They don't sit there all day and watch, but they watch at different times of the day. And Vanessa goes live so much, it's hard not to get hooked and let's see what's happening today.
But then there is that element to it, in all honesty, because if you're going to put yourself out there, well, if you've put yourself out there, you've put yourself out there. That's the first thing.
Yeah,
I can't see what I'm not shown. That's the first thing. Secondly, if you put yourself out there consistently all the time, then that means you are out there all the time. And thirdly, if you're the one holding the camera when you're putting yourself out there, then
you're stacking the deck of cards against you.
And to be honest, the facts are the facts.
And I don't mean against you.
The facts are the facts, and I start to keep things factual. Like, if I could,
and I guess we're going into this whole, and Bam and I know this all too well. And everybody who goes live knows when you put yourself out there, you put yourself on camera, you open yourself up to criticism.
Yeah.
People not liking you, people liking and loving you, and people that want to look into your past and see what you've done in the past and see what kind of person you are. But that's the price I pay for wanting to be public, be a public character or public personality, whatever you want to call it.
Mm.
And I don't think she understands that yet. She's made people interested in her, and people are going to criticize. I mean, it's just, what we do is we will react to her videos.
Mm.
And then everything else that goes with it, criticism, opinion. Bam takes it a little bit further. Yeah, he knows. Bam takes it a couple of steps further, and
just a little bit.
But that's just that's the price you pay for making your life public. And I don't think she wants to realize that, or for some reason she thinks that does not apply to her. So now we get into this whole thing where, again, why do people not like her? This is one of those things. She's very defiant, and I'm a victim, and that's why a lot of people like.
She's special.
People may not like her. Some hate her. Special. I'm sure some do hate her.
Everybody's special in their own way.
Everybody's special. Come on, bro.
Yeah, this is America. We all think we're special over here.
Back off, Barbie. I'm the only special motherfucker here.
Nah, but I'm thinking it was more me, to be honest. But
Hey, we can have that debate another time.
No props.
But and then today, I know some people are making a big deal out of it. We're jumping to another aspect. Today is the infamous 2-year anniversary of when her incident she had at the restaurant parking lot. I don't know if you saw that video where
No,
somebody
I'm not
called the
sure.
police to do a wellness check on her. She was acting erratically or something, and she had children in the back seat.
No,
And the police were
said
there.
3 years.
3 years. I'm sorry. Thank you. 3-year anniversary to the day. And the police were at her window in the car. Open the door. Open the window. She said, "No, no." And she was arguing with the police officers. Eventually, she opened. She was arrested for public intoxication and endangering the lives of children, her own children. And so that is one of the last times.
And having paraphernalia on her.
Yeah, well, that too. And from that point, it might have been one of the last times she spent time with her children, and her children were removed from her custody and given to her ex-husband, to their father. And some people made fun of it. Some people celebrate that day. I don't think it's anything to celebrate. It's a horrible thing to have to go through.
Not at all.
Yeah.
That's not something to celebrate.
And so, what's happened since then? Although she talks a lot about it, she seems to make no effort to try to win her kids back, improving her life, stop the drugs, stop going live so many times, try to do a normal life, show people that you're fighting for your kids instead of calling the legal system, oh, they're all corrupt and they're all against me, and because I'm a brown woman, and they're trying to. Well, that's not the case. That's really not the case, and I'm wondering, assuming what we say is accurate, what is your take on her attitude with that? And she really doesn't mention her kids a lot. Birthdays, oh, today's my little girl's birthday, or that kind of a thing. But she never. I mean, she can do a 3-hour program criticizing everybody in the comments, but she'll never talk about her kids or trying to get them back, or I'm trying to better myself, and no talk about that at all.
I think she's mentioned the kids to me when we've spoken, but I think also as well, it's going to be a difficult topic for her and to talk about publicly in that respect, because as you know, you're going to have, what the comment section's like in most people's lives. You're going to have trolls, you're going to have your fans and your supporters, you're going to have just straight haters, because they exist. I'm not saying everybody that disagrees is a hater, but you will have haters, as we all know. So I think, okay, how to conceptualize this one. Okay, right. So imagine in England, you've got EastEnders, Coronation Street, Emmerdale Farm. They've been running for years. They're soap operas that they've been running for years. Over your side, you've got Bold and the Beautiful, Days of Our Lives, Young and Restless, or whatever else that you've got. People are addicted to watching drama in other people's lives. It's that simple. For someone to have a platform for 6 years, live streaming their own life for 6 years, different elements of it, and for people to have been watching for so long, we are addicted. Just as humans, we are addicted to other people's dramas, other people's. We don't mind seeing the turmoil as long as it's not in our own life, and it's also great gossip material as well. So there's that. Now, when you are the one holding the camera and you've got the camera faced towards yourself and you are putting your life out there for the people to see, you've created this exact same soap opera, but it's just of your life. It's a live stream for the rest of the world. Okay, cool. But the difference is that you're the director, so you get to pick and choose what topics and themes that the world are going to see. So when it comes to the children, I'd imagine because they're children at the end of the day. She gave birth to them, so she's going to it's going to be a delicate topic. It's going to be a touchy subject. So I assume that's the reason why she's not going to put that part of her life out there, especially the fact that she doesn't have them at the moment. I'm guessing that's the reason why she hasn't. That's not a topic she deals with. And you have to remember as well, which, as much as the efforts that I've been trying to make have been what they are, I think it was in the last live after I made the apology to someone who I called out their name and I read out their message, which was sent to me privately, which I shouldn't have done. It was pointed out to me that after I asked a question about something to do with the point I mentioned earlier about turning the so-called haters into supporters, and she says, long story short, it's her platform and she can do what she wants on her platform. If somebody decides to come to her with negativity, then how she can choose how she wants to respond to them. Regardless of what I was trying to achieve and accomplish, what she said remains a fact and it's true. It's her platform, and what she chooses to do on it is entirely up to her. She has the full run of her platform to do what she wants to do. So I couldn't say anything to that because it's the truth. So as much as I wanted to help reduce the loggerheads that both camps have got and come to a peaceful resolution, I think I'd have an easier task trying to come to a peaceful resolution with Russia and Ukraine than I would do with you guys, because when she hit that note, and I just realized, well, if she just doesn't want to, there isn't very much I can do about that. You can reason with somebody until the cows come home, but if they've dug their heels in and said that this is just not something I want to do, then you're not going to get anywhere. So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I've given up, because like I said to you, I would like a peaceful resolution between both camps. Obviously, I understand that's not just going to be a case of everybody just like ceasefire, that's the end of it. There's been a lot of hurt on both sides, I imagine. But I do think that through the willingness, like you have to sometimes, like we said, you have to accept certain things first. And sometimes, I don't know, but like I've said, because it's not like she's come onto my platform or your platform. She has her own platform. She does her own thing, and that is a lot of power. And with that, she's got a lot of autonomy over it, so she doesn't have to admit to anything, and she can keep going. So it's not, like I said, it'd be easy to do Russia and Ukraine, to be honest, for me. But I won't give up just yet.
I hear you, and you may not be wrong. I think so much time has passed between all these. There's many incidents. So much time has passed, and she's allowed this to, like we say, she's allowed it to fester, and people start to get restless. Why isn't she in jail yet? When is her court case, and how come she's not being held accountable? And I think it'll be difficult for her to just, like I said, I think it'd be a good start, but yes, that's not the magic potion that's gonna fix the situation. And you said, a cease and desist. Bam and I have quit talking about her on a couple occasions. We just stopped streaming, went off on our own other thing. Frankly, she was getting very repetitive, and a lot of things she was saying, she was just doing over and over again. And we're like, yeah, you know what? I think we had enough. And we just walked away from it. I don't know how long did we walk away from that for? Was it a couple of months, 3 months?
Yeah, I think it was 4 months, maybe 5. But she was getting to the point where she was boring.
Yeah, only because we've heard
the same thing over and over again. It's like I'm a victim. December 24th, 2020. This person, that person beat me up, smashed my face, and sorry that it happened to you. It should never have happened to you.
Yeah.
Any kind of violence like that nobody deserves. Nobody
So
should actually have to go through.
So this brings us
when
to
you start
December
blaming
24th.
everybody and their brother, and you don't even know who the hell it is or who the hell it was. Well, no, you do, but she's putting other people in, like Ophelia. Manny was even in there one time, for a couple of weeks. Said he was behind it.
So this brings us up to December 24th of 2020, where she was beat up at a hotel, motel, or something, and you've seen the pictures, I'm sure, on her face where she's all bruised up and swollen and all that.
Yeah.
And this is a strong point that I have a problem with, where she's blaming this basically the same three people that they conspired to pay people to have this done to her. Where if you watch all the videos from the day that it happened, because she went live right away, I think the same day she was rescued by police officers, and she came out of the hospital, she went live, and there was no mention of these people. It was all about a jealous new girlfriend to her ex-boyfriend, or people she was partying with, and there were photos to show they were together just hours before. But she turned it into this thing where she blames a gentleman by the name of John Allen, that he's the one of the co-conspirators, the ringmaster that paid money to have these people beat her up and kidnap her, and that's just not the truth. And I don't know why she's going with that. I think she's in too deep, where she's been going with that for so many years that she has to stick to it.
Either that, or once you tell yourself something so many times and for so long, you start to believe it yourself. You don't know what the lie is anymore.
Did not have anything to do with that evening or that morning. It was actually in the morning. And she's blaming these same people, and she says she has evidence, and she has, and I told Bam, I said it on the air, Vanessa, if you have evidence, put it out there, and I'll stand right next to you, and I'll say, yeah, prosecute those people. I said that, even though I know them very well, and I will be on her side if she provides the proof. But years have gone by and never any proof, and sometimes she protects herself by saying, well, these are the people I believe to be behind the beating. But I know that didn't happen that way. And that's one thing. I'll keep defending these three individuals. And not that I'm very friendly with them. I'm not fans of what they do. I'm not. So I don't have there's no favoritism there or none of that stuff. But
well, I don't know. I'm kind of a fan of what John did at Walmart.
Okay. I don't know if you know the story of John Allen. There was a Walmart, the Walmart supermarket, the Walmart store. And there was a guy who went in there with an AK-47, and he was going to have a shooting at the Walmart. John Allen was in the parking lot watching this guy walk into the store. Well, John Allen went right after him. He talked him down. He was in there talking to him for an hour. He prevented him from shooting whoever he went in there to kill. He prevented that from happening. Finally, the police officers got involved, and the guy had to be shot because he was going to pull out another weapon, and the guy lost his life. But John Allen, his actions prevented him from shooting up the store with an AK-47. So he's a hero down here. And she wants to accuse him. He's a military veteran, and she just wants to keep continuing that these people are the people who had her beat up. Why? I don't know why him. There's a lot of things that have happened, and I don't want to. We could stay here for 6 hours talking if you had nothing else to do on a Sunday morning. But that's where I have a problem with this particular thing and I'll keep defending them because I truly 99.9999999% positive that they had nothing to do with it. She just decided to latch onto this story for some reason at all. Have you heard her talk about that night, that beating, and she's a victim or she's surviving?
Oh, that's strange because she brings that up at least, once or 8 times a month.
No, I don't. No, a lot of the things that you've mentioned, I've either seen it myself in a video or something like that. Or, in fact, when I says what you're ranting about, and then I think it was after that live. I looked at her page, I think it was, and I saw the video at the top, or the images at the top of when she was assaulted. And that's when I was just like, because you're saying you don't know what I've been through, X, Y, and Z. In fact, I think I may have done. I think it was after the live. If I'm not mistaken. And then that's what kind of like, what was it? It could have been just because, remember, I didn't jump straight into the live straight away. I was messaging, trying to. I think I may have. That was it. I think I'd looked at her page on Facebook just before I jumped on that first live, while I was still trying to send messages to be like, to try and calm her down a bit. And then that's when I saw it, and I was just like, okay, so because she's like, you don't know what I've been through, blah blah. So that's when I looked at her page. I was just like, oh shit. Yeah. You've been through something, because people don't normally wake up looking like that. So something's happened. But then, obviously, I've tried to continue. Like, look, you've got the wrong end of the stick. That's not what I meant. Blah blah. Then, but she's already off on one. And that's when I just got to the point. I was just like, no. Let me jump in on this live. I need to tell you a few things. And then, yeah, it happened how it happened. But quite a few of the things you've mentioned, I've either seen. Yeah, but when I've asked her about certain things, I can't remember what she said about that one, if she said anything about it, to be honest. So I'm not sure. I wasn't really focused on the past stuff. I was more focused on the here and the now, moving forward. Like, stop this X, Y, and Z in terms of the way that you approach people, or the way that you handle people that have come to you with a difference of opinion. I'm more on that. I'm more on, let's make the here and the now and the moving forward wonderful. So a lot of those things I wouldn't really discuss, or it wasn't the thing, because especially at the time, I'd only spoken to Vanessa. I hadn't spoken to anybody else. But after that initial live, I got quite a few messages and videos and things like that. But at the same time, ironically, obviously, I understand when you're at war, there are no rules of engagement. As much as people like to think there aren't. So I understand certain things, because I did get messages from. Now, that being said, let's get this correct. Let's have a few things. Let's make a few things clear, right? So she did warn me. She said that people are going to message you now that obviously they've seen us talking the live. They're going to message you privately. They're going to try and turn you against me. They're going to try and do things just to get at me. That's what she said. She says they're going to contact you. You're going to have women contacting you. They're going to. So she's already told me this before it happens. And lo and behold, Manny, Bam, what happened? Women were contacting me. Clearly, not from her camp, from the opposing camp. Hi, I'm handsome, blah, 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 blah. So if you've been pre-warned, I'm a flirtatious person anyway, naturally. Like, it's not a thing for me. Like, it's normal. But when you've been warned that women are going to come into your inbox and they're going to do this, you've been warned. So when they do it, for some reason, I don't know, a lot of them, I don't know what they were thinking. I've seen messages, but this is what I'm trying to say about the messages going backwards and forth from different camps, but from people in opposing camps, and they're trying to use it as ammunition for whatever and whatever, which I think is pretty childish. But people are going to do what they're going to do. It is what it is. So one of the things was, and it seems to be a thing, because I've been speaking to women that have messaged me and I've been flirtatious. Like, that's, sorry if you can see my hand, a thing. I'm like, bro, I'm single for a start. That's the first thing. I'm not in a relationship with anybody. So that's the first thing. Secondly, I'm entitled to speak to whoever I want. Thirdly, it's not like I didn't see you coming to do what you were going to do.
You're single. So, can I get your phone number?
Yeah, 100%.
Bam's interested, by the way. Yeah.
No problems. I'll send it in a bit. But the thing is, you know, I only do women, so pass it on to women. But the thing is that...
Sorry, Bam.
I tried. I mean, he's a good-looking guy.
I'll try. Today's
Bam
a
is
bit of
such
an
a
off
hoe.
day.
Don't worry about Bam. Bam is a hoe. He admits it. He's
Don't
okay.
worry about it, Bam. Like to each their own. But and this is a not a good day either. Like you haven't got my good side. But the thing is that I saw it coming. I wasn't phased by it in the slightest. I'm still not. I find it quite amusing. But then people trying to use that as some kind of ammunition for whatever is weird. I'm like, you got the wrong guy. Honestly, if you had one of them simps that was just like, you'd probably be getting somewhere with it. But that's just not me. So by all means, please contact me and please keep trying to like flirt and whatnot, and then just disappear or whatever it is you do. I don't know. Great stuff. Well done, guys. But the thing is, it's like little things like that I found amusing, to be honest. But having a decent conversation like this with yourself, Manny and Bam, like this, I find much more interesting. Even the conversation that you saw me having with Vanessa. You see what I'm trying to say? Like, it's for the fact that everybody was like, "Oh, she's completely different. Like, we've never seen this before. Where did this come from?" If that's the progress that was made, then that's progress. Progress is progress, no matter how you want to look at progress. So, there's that. But for me, I was genuinely speaking to Vanessa, genuinely. So it's not like, I don't know, there was some ulterior motive. I've been very straight and upfront from the beginning on that. In fact, I've been told that I'm a bit too honest and a bit too open. So that's just
and that was another point that was going to come up, which was as I don't know, you may have suspected this, but I did get a bunch of messages saying, "Oh, just so you know, he's contacted, or we made contact, and he's looking to go live, or he wants a picture, a photo, and or he's interested, or he wants to, meet, or this and that, or whatever." And that, a few of those came through as well. And
100%.
I guess that,
100%.
So you got no beef with that yet?
No. I genuinely, Manny, I couldn't care less. Like, I'll listen. I'll do it and then say I did it. I will do it, then tell you I've done it, and then my next question is, and what? And what now? Can you see what I'm trying to say? So
in the words of Vanessa, what about it?
What about it?
And what about it?
Yeah. Now there you go. Like, there's not like, I'm single. Why would I not? Like, why would I'm not going to sit in the corner hiding. I'm not going to shy away. Like, I speak to women like all the time. It's not. I haven't just come across women because I've jumped on alive. I haven't just come across women because someone from the other camp has decided to message me. Like, I'm not a stranger to women in the slightest. So, honestly, and this is how I felt about it from the beginning. Because it's like when Vanessa told me that it's going to happen, and then it happened. It was even funnier if she didn't tell me that it was going to happen, and then it happens. I'll be like, okay, well, this is a bit like, okay, well, okay, hi, you're right. But the fact that she says they are going to do this, and then the women came and did it. Who do you think that speaks more loudly for, or against? Should I say? It's not against Vanessa when you think about it logically, because they did exactly what she said they was going to do, which means you. And who was it? Somebody else saw, because you're going to have fake accounts on both sides. Somebody else saw. I think it was. One of your lives, I don't know if it's yours particular, Manny, but it was basically from the opposing camp to Vanessa. They saw, it basically said, "Oh, we're going to go and flirt with him just to get at Vanessa," and something to that effect. And blah, blah,
I might have seen that somewhere. Yeah.
Can you see what I'm trying to say? So I'm saying it's not like to say everybody on the opposing camp to Vanessa has behaved or innocently. Not really, and that's why I says in war there are no rules. Expect the unexpected and expect this nonsense. So that's why, as much as X, Y, Z could be said against Vanessa, which people clearly do, then on the other side of it, it's not like to say everybody's behaviour has been wonderful and spotless, because it hasn't. So that's why I could sit here and pick holes all day, but what has been my disposition from the beginning? Positivity, onwards and upwards, progress, ceasefire. That's what I'm looking at, not silly childish behavior. I made a request that I wanted to speak to. I made the request. I wasn't forced or coerced or blackmailed or anything. I made the request. I said I would like to speak to the opposing camp of Vanessa's, and I've said it on both platforms. I prefer there to be peace, harmony, and a ceasefire. So, and you see me, and the thing is, before I'd even got onto, thank you, Manny, for having me on here, and Bam, but before I'd even got here, you saw me say, that we should move forward in positivity and focus on the good things. So the only way to do that in its full entirety is to have a ceasefire. And everybody's seen me make that effort on the other side, and now I've come here and I'm trying to make the effort on this side. So I think I've been pretty consistent, to be honest. Oh, sorry, apart from being the flirt, I think I've been pretty consistent, to be honest.
Of course. So having said that, have you spoken to her? You might have mentioned it earlier. Does she know that you're here having this conversation? Does she know that you're going to come on this program?
She didn't know I was going to, no. She most likely will know now, but she didn't know I was going to.
Oh, well, yeah. She does watch sometimes. I know she does, even though she says she doesn't.
And if she doesn't, some of her Minions. Followers, she's got spies who come on, they report 100%. Back to her what's happening.
100%. It is what it is. That's normal. It's to be expected.
And are you prepared for any backlash that may come at you, that she will unleash at you because you're over here? Because this is the one thing she doesn't want for anyone who talks to her, follows her, whatever, is to go to what she calls the hate pages. She detests that. She will cut you off. And who else? Who knows? But that's usually what her.
Who knows how that is going to play out? But everybody's entitled to do what they want to do, and me being me as well. Like, if that's a decision that she chose to make, I can't do anything about that. But at the same time, me being me, I've been trained as a high-risk mediator. You can't mediate between two parties if you don't speak to both parties. So it wouldn't make sense for me to not speak to the other side. And I'm not coming over to the other side to say, I'm coming to join you guys. You see what I'm trying to say? That's not I haven't come here to do that. And I haven't come here to bash Vanessa either, because that's the first thing I did say. So me being true to myself and being consistent, I'm trying to broker peace. That's it. I'm not trying to, you shouldn't have done this, or you shouldn't have done that. Or it's like everything that's happened has happened, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Good or bad, it has happened.
Nor are we trying to recruit you. We're not trying to say don't talk to her anymore.
No,
you haven't heard that from us, right?
No. I was the one that requested that you have me on your live, and I'll say it again. Everybody, I was the one that requested that Manny would have me on his live, and that is how I am here. It's not because Vanessa sent me. It's not because Manny's asked me to be here. I asked for this, and that is why I'm here. And I don't have any animosity to either side in the slightest. I'm just trying to broker peace because she's got potential. She could be doing like even more greater things than she's doing now, because she does good stuff when she's trying to advocate people that are getting bullied and whatnot. I'll give credit where it's due. So I'm saying she could be doing even greater things because she does good things. Just like Manny's over here, he's got his platform. Manny does good things too. Everybody knows, like, you've got both sides. What I'm saying, the potential for good is phenomenal, but the conflicts between the two can be hampering any other good progresses that could be made. So that is what I'm here for. So in a nutshell. Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I hate to leave you, but I have to be up in a few hours to go to work.
Oh yeah, we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up in a minute, Bam. So hold on. I just want to, I guess, closing. And again, I said I was not going to keep repeating this the entire program, and I won't. Because I believe it's the second time, maybe the third. But we are not a hate page.
Yeah.
Bam and I don't hate Vanessa. I like to dismiss and counter a lot of the things that she says, and like people she blames for her beating and that kind of thing. So, but I don't hate her in spite, and she'll come out and she'll go on the attack, and she'll attack. You know, she's notorious for going after people where they work, calling their employers. Oh, he came into my page. He's a hater. You know, you got to be careful with that employee. And she'll try to get them fired. And she's got a few people fired by doing just that. And then that's where she got a lot of people against her as well. It's like, hey, just keep it here on the page like we're doing, like everybody does. But she takes it a step further, and she tries to get one over on you by doing that kind of activity. And that's also where a lot of the hate or dislike against her from a lot of people came from, is doing things like that. Is there going to be a ceasefire? Bam, are we going to cease fire?
I didn't know we were on. I didn't know we were the Hatfields and McCoys, but
I don't. She said things against me. I mean, she accused me of wanting to rape her. She said this a few days ago.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, and I didn't. Some people criticize me lovingly for not hitting back hard enough, but I took that as you're crazy. Right? That's ridiculous.
Well, she's a little cray-cray. I mean, I'm not going to lie. In my professional opinion of being an asshole, she is a little cray-cray.
And even though she says things like that, I tend to just whatever. But
that's
something
that's pretty dangerous, to be honest. But
very dangerous. It is. I know.
And once again, if you keep saying things over and over and over and over again, you're going to believe them. You are going to believe what you are saying as the God's gospel truth.
It's not just that, It's not even just that. It's a case of like shit tends to stick, doesn't it? So, and in this society that we live in, look at the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard scenario. You can't go around saying certain things. Things you don't just go around saying. You don't. That's not good. But
that cost Miss Amber Heard, a lot. And
but it cost Johnny Depp a lot, and he was innocent. So imagine, this is my point. If he was guilty, it'd be a different scenario. In fact, he was already guilty before, in everybody's eyes, before everything was concluded. And how look at the impact that had. Movie deals, it affected his work, his life. Like, that's not.
Yeah.
You have to be careful about the things we say. Hence why you've seen me make quite apologies publicly, because I've said things publicly. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to be careful.
And I wouldn't even necessarily want an apology. If people say, "Oh, you should get," I think, you know what? She's not going to. I don't expect one from her. I wish she would say she didn't mean that. I mean, she doesn't know me. I've got no criminal history. I have not been arrested 12 times, 13 times, like she says, like she has. And for her to make a comment like that, at some point,
what it leaves one to speculate. Does she have a that type of fantasy? I mean,
I didn't even say nothing like that. That's him talking, not me.
That's me with no filter.
Bam.
There's people out there that are crazy like that. That have those fantasies.
They're out there.
Yeah, I'd like to think the majority of women don't have that fantasy.
Well, I would too.
I'd say so.
I would too.
Yeah.
I mean, that once again, there's nobody out there in the world that deserves that or any type of physical violence that she endured on December 24th, 2020.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what? I don't know if you're up for another discussion next week or 100%, days later.
100%. 100%.
There's a lot of things that we didn't get to. A lot of them are a lot of little things that have happened in her life, and they want to get your take on it. But like I said, we can be here for 6 hours doing this and still not be done. So,
like I said, we'll do this again.
I do appreciate you coming. You can see we're just a couple of regular, respectful people. We're not haters. I appreciate you, especially on short notice. And I know we talked about possibly this happening next week or 2 weeks from now or something.
That's cool.
So I do appreciate you just doing on such short notice.
Okay.
And everybody, like him or hate him, this is Junior Taylor.
I like him.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. You got a big fan right here.
What about the rest of you followers? How many are watching now?
185.
It just dipped under 200 a little bit, yeah.
And what were the comments saying? Because I didn't see any comments.
Oh, you know what? You know why I didn't display the comments?
Go on.
Because there's so many of them and it's moving so fast.
Oh my God!
Really?
Yeah.
So behind.
Wow.
How many comments are there? There's got to be 1,000 comments.
No way. I didn't even think people would have much to say, to be honest. But okay.
Oh, in fact, if I go take a look,
Texas Queen likes you. Texas Queen B likes you. She says, "I like you, Mr. T."
Thank you,
there are over
Texas
a
Queen.
thousand comments already. There are over 1,000 comments already, and that's only on Facebook, not even on YouTube. And
Wow.
and there's so many. There was no way I'd be able to show every single one. And some are just ridiculous, but most of them say you drank her Kool-Aid and you've been brainwashed by her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that. I think.
I
I
haven't
think
been
he's just
brainwashed.
trying to remain left, like in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think hopefully you're willing to listen to the things that we've got to say and some of the things that the crowd has brought up.
Once this is posted, you're always welcome to go back and watch it or look at the comments yourself too.
No,
not that you have to spend another 2 hours of your Sunday day to read all the comments.
Yeah,
but there are over 1,000 comments, and
yes,
a lot of them were quite respectable. There was some questions. One, of course, was one that we asked you about the GoFundMe. There was another question I seen a little bit ago about do you believe Vanessa does drugs? I mean, that's an opinion you can keep to yourself if you so wish to.
And I didn't even get to those because I didn't want to get into that. And I'm not trying to bash her,
put you on the spot,
look bad or anything like that, or put you on the spot as well. Except for the GoFundMe thing and were you flirting with these women? To which he said,
100%. Yes, I was.
He said,
and guess what, Manny, Bam, I'd do it again.
I'd do it again.
I'd do it again.
That's pretty real. So
hey, I always say, if you got to do everything at least one time in your life.
That's right.
Twice if you like it, 3 times, or twice to make sure, 3 times if you like
it. See it there, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, you kept it very, very respectable conversation between us. We didn't bash Vanessa in the slightest. That's not what we're here to do. You asked me fact-based questions, and you asked me about me more than anything really. So you asked me about if I was flirting and the GoFundMe. So I'm content. It's been a good interview.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for that. We'll talk again, perhaps next week or a couple of weeks. We'll stay in touch the way we have been.
Yes, please.
And everyone, Mr. Junior Taylor from what city? Are you in London or just outside of London?
No,
or anywhere near London, actually.
No, I'm not. I'm near Birmingham, actually, in Wolverhampton.
Oh, Birmingham. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's even better. He's we're quite a few hours apart. So we do appreciate you. Thank you again for coming on the program, sir. And we will speak again. If there's something that you and her get to speak in the next couple of days, which may happen, of course she's going to say, don't believe them, or don't listen to them.
You might want to check your inbox. There might be something there from her now. You don't know.
I wouldn't surprise me if she's already
maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah. But you have a great night, sir. Thank you so much, and we'll be in touch. Perhaps we can have another chat.
You guys take care. Take care. I'll catch you soon.
Hasta luego.
All right, take care, sir. All right, that was Mr. Taylor from, where do you say, Birmingham, actually?
Birmingham, England.
Yes. So, what happens now?
Bam
is her little friend going to get triggered? Is Vanessa triggered? Is she going to get triggered? Is she going to explode, or what's going to happen? I don't think we were hard on her. I think I was, like myself, usually a little easy on her.
I held my reins back. I was a good boy.
Yeah.
Although I did loosen them up when I said she's a little cry. I loosened them just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I know that I didn't get to all the questions and all the comments, and I wasn't going to. I know it was not going to happen. There's so many coming through.
And the chat is scrolling so fast. There was a couple of times I started reading something, and I'd go to the next word. I'm like, where that makes no sense. And it was gone.
Yeah, but he has agreed to come back on again, and I'll bring him back in a few days, and we can get to a lot of the stuff that we missed. I'm not trying to avoid anything at all. some of the things were a little rude, so I definitely was not going to display that. And I just decided early it'd be a futile attempt to display every single comment. And like I said, hate him, like him or hate him. At least he came on and spoke out, and we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next couple of days. I believe Vanessa will be very unhappy.
I like him, but do I need to go freshen up the downtown like him, like Vanessa? No, but I like him. Good guy.
And he's very like someone. I was warned, and as if you saw the videos with him and her, people can mistake a foreign accent and say, "Oh, you be careful. He's a real charming guy. He's a real charming, likable guy." And he seemed likable. I didn't have any issues with him.
Oh yeah, extremely likable, very personable.
Yes, very. And was he putting on an act or portraying something that he wasn't? I don't think so. I think he came clean with the GoFundMe thing. He didn't double talk that at all. I think. See, I want to show these comments from Mel Monroe. She's very critical of him. Okay, here. I'm going to show one comment. How's that? Man behind the mic, what an absolute melt. He lives in the worst part of the UK. 45-minute drive from me. My alarm didn't go off, so I only caught the last bit of the interview. But the Broomy accent is the worst accent in the whole UK. I don't even know what that is. Is that what you call it, Birmingham?
They have different dialects. Like,
yeah.
Cockney, they're, I mean, I can do a Cockney accent really well. But there's if you're from Essex, you're a little more prim and proper. There's one where Cheryl from Spice Girls from. They're like, I love, they're like really drawn out. So there's different dialects of their accent over there, just like there's different dialects of Spanish. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, sure it does. Different parts of Mexico, there are different. We call them accents, or not necessarily a dialect.
I didn't say Cockney. I said Cockney. Madre, ay caramba.
It is after hours, so pillow talk is certainly acceptable right now. Well, he didn't, Sammy. I don't think he kept bringing up the GoFundMe. I asked him about it, and he said, "Yeah, I did." And he said he would. I think that's what he said. He said
you have 75,000 followers. If you get 10%, just put in $1. That would pretty much cover his whole entire trip. Be a little under $10,000. So obviously he wants to fly coach and not first class. But next sentence is, I can cover my own travel.
Yeah.
Wherever he goes, he covers his own bills, which is great for him. Good for him. Wish I could cover my bills, but that's another story.
So am I did I drink the Kool-Aid he was offering? Not completely, We just met the guy today the first time. Yeah, I don't know anything about him. Does he have an ulterior motive? Somebody said he's got another motive.
He's a lover, not a fighter. He wants nothing but peace and love in the world.
He wants a piece of love, that he wants to get as much pieces of love that he can. Is that necessarily a wrong thing for him?
Whether some of it that be from Vanessa or not, we don't know. And I hope that after he's seen that video of her smoking out of a glass pipe with nothing on, I hope that he would run the other direction. And that's why I said I'm sorry. I'm sorry that he had to see that, because that's not a pretty sight. But then again, this naked isn't pretty either.
Yeah, so many comments. I'm going to have to go through these comments tomorrow or something, because there was a crap ton. I keep thinking I missed a few, but I missed tons.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to read some of them, and they were just scrolling so fast I couldn't. I'd get I missed you all over there, and then it'd be like, gone. I'd be like, I'd read 2 or 3 words, and it's like, gone. It's like, okay, yeah, I give up.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, when the comments are on our screen, the comments as they get typed and entered, they filter the screen and they move up. And sometimes they'll move up, and you can't even read one of the comments because it gets pushed up and then it gets lost. And so anyway, I will definitely, if there's a reason to bring it back, for something to talk about that's legit, then fine. But I'm not gonna, maybe we can talk about different things. Get his take on what the UK thinks about some of the stuff that goes on here in the States. That'd be interesting. But am I going to bring him back just to bring him back, just to keep on this Vanessa thing? Probably not, unless we hear from Vanessa, or he hears from her, or we'll see what happens. We'll see what will happen. Don't know. And if people want to cash app him,
he just says, "I don't want money. I work." He's in here right now. So
there you go. He doesn't want money. He does. He's not.
And that's it's great. But he was
Now, whether you believe him or not, that's a whole other story.
I believe him.
I think I believe him.
I believe him.
But then again, at the same time, if he said, "Hey, you know what? If you guys want me to come to the United States, who's going to buy me the ticket? If you want me to come, if I want Bam to come to Texas, well, then I'm going to have to buy him a ticket so he can come to Texas."
Either that or send me gas money. I'd say send me gas money because my fat ass don't fit on an airplane anymore.
And so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see how Miss Stang over there reacts. And we'll see what happens.
Can I bring my bidet with me?
You can bring your bidet. Yes, you can.
I love my bidet.
Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. This was, I believe it was interesting. And I think the best is yet to come still. We'll see what happens. I'm sure there's going to be a reaction to this. And so we'll see what happens.
Well, once again, if you put your life out there for people to view, people are going to comment on it. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent.
Absolutely. That's what's going to happen.
I just, just say what you want about me. I don't care. Just make sure I had a good time.
That's the bottom line. Kay Gallagher, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you all who contributed, and thank you all who contributed with your comments. I mean, you guys are always freaking great with the comments.
Yes, thanks for the Cash Apps and the Venmos. Much appreciated. It means I don't have to work a whole lot tomorrow, but I do have to go to work today, actually.
Now I'm hungry. Now I'm freaking starving now.
I've been freaking hungry all day. I did not have dinner. And I'm like, I'll get up and I'll make a grilled cheese sandwich. And it's like, oh, God, that's just too much work. Because yesterday what I do, I cleaned every freaking dish in the house. All the pots and pans are clean. And it's like, I hate doing dishes. So why do I want to dirty dishes just to wash more? Then my nephew comes home and he decides he wants to cook fucking curry. So what's he do? Dirties up 4 knives, 2 cutting boards, 7 pans. I don't know why you just can't do it in 1, but no, we have to use 7 pans.
And 2 cutting boards.
Yeah. One for meat, 1 for veggies. I get that. I don't have a problem with that. Cut down on cross-contamination. I'm okay with that. But 7 pans, really? Every freaking pan I own is dirty now. After I spent all day Saturday washing them.
Why don't you make them wash all your stuff?
Oh, I told him, I said, you're going to do the dishes because, and you're going to do them the way I want them done. I'm very anal about my dishes. I will wash them, scrub all the food and everything off of them, then put them in the dishwasher. Now, the pots and pans, I actually wash with soap and water, then put them in the dishwasher. Because your dishwasher really is not a dishwasher. It is a dish sanitizer. Just saying.
Do you have more faith in a hand wash versus a dishwasher?
I do both to make sure. If it's going in my mouth, motherfucker's going to be clean. Just like a penis. If it's going in my mouth, that motherfucker's going to be clean.
Yeah, he said that. He just said that. He did.
Hey, it's after hours.
That's a very important aspect of that act is cleanliness, right?
Absolutely.
Jeez.
And then, and I don't know how some of you ladies are, but dishwashers have slots and lines for a reason. Okay, so you line up all your plates side by side by side by side by side. You put all your glasses in there side by side by side by side by side. You on your silverware tray side by side by side by side. You line them up nice and neat so everybody gets wet, everybody gets the sanitation solution on them, and everybody gets happy. You don't just throw it in there any which way but loose. I mean, who the fuck? God, does that piss me off the most? I mean, you load the dishwasher correctly.
I'm wondering. Okay, so yes, I was warned. Oh, he's charming. He's very charming, and this and that. I think a lot of the charming is the accent. A lot of people are not. Bam, I've worked at airports when I was with the airline, so I've heard all the accents. He's traveled a lot, so he's heard all the accents. So the accent itself, to me, doesn't do anything because I've heard a lot of accents from a lot of different people. There's some that I prefer over others.
Yes.
But Bam, I think Bam was tickled pink with Mr. Taylor.
Well, I wasn't, I did not have to go freshen up the downtown like Vanessa. Okay.
Is Vanessa going to have to fight you for Mr. Taylor, or
Well, I mean, he likes women. I mean, I could go. No, I can't because I don't have anything. I mean, I could go look like Vanessa, but no, I don't want to. That's too much work. I mean, I could go put a little makeup on and put a wig on, and maybe that'll float his boat. I don't know, but
something to look forward to. How's that?
I thought about putting the Vanessa wig on. I thought about it, but I didn't.
Somebody mentioned it before the show started, and in the comments all day long, somebody said, "Is Bam going to come out in a wig and
thought
be
about
like like Vanessa?"
Thought about it.
That would have been funny. Probably would have freaked him out.
Probably.
So anyway, it's almost 3:30 here.
Yes. I gotta get my fat ass in the recliner.
Anyway, I think that was pretty good. I don't see anything wrong with what we did.
I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed talking to Junior, and I can't wait to have him back. Maybe next time he can bring a little cray with him.
Oh, if he could pull that off, that'd be something. That would be something. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't even think he could pull it off.
If he can bring Cray with him, I promise to be on my best behavior and not to say horrendous things to her face. Unless she says them to me first. Then I'll take that little girl to church again.
Yeah, somebody's asking what was up with Luke. Luke is not a fan of Vanessa's. In case you haven't noticed.
Luke, I am your father.
He kept wanting me to refer to something and ask him about this, and yeah, come on, man, I'm not gonna do that. I legitimately was not interested in just having this to be a bash Vanessa session.
Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't gonna bash Vanessa.
And contrary to what she might say, she'll say that we did.
Absolutely, she will. Why?
We were just saying we know Vanessa. Truth. Yeah.
Kind of like that song from What's Her Nuts. I know you're lying because your lips are moving. Who the hell sings that?
I don't know, but that's what they say about lawyers. A lawyer is lying because his lips are moving, or a politician too, for that matter.
Kay. Vanessa's she's practicing for the donkey show. She's getting ready because she's doing the donkey kicks exercises, whatever the hell that is. I mean, I've seen a donkey kick before. And it's usually when they blow a load.
Oh my God!
And now Vanessa's doing donkey kicks, so I don't know how that's going to work out.
You've seen a donkey blow a load? Have you really?
I've seen a donkey show. Yes. If y'all don't know what a donkey show is, Google it. I'm sure it's out there on Google. It's got to be there's got to be a donkey show on YouTube somewhere. Got to be.
Because you'll get flagged. They'll start tracking you. It's like, why is this person interested in donkey shows?
And I feel sorry for the poor donkey. I mean, that's animal cruelty. It really is. You've heard people. Sex sent me to the ER. You've seen those videos. Well, let's just say it includes bestiality and sex. That's all you need to know.
Enough said. Enough said.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
So don't look it up because just from those words being said.
Kristen's seen one too. And yes, they do them in Mexico.
I mean, I know they were real because you guys talked about it, but I don't know. I try not to think about that stuff too much. No, you don't. Stop it.
Luke.
Since we have receipts, she participated in the donkey show. Cut it out. No, you don't.
If you do, send them to my inbox because I can't believe it.
Not to mine because I don't want to be getting that kind of.
I mean, photos, I don't want to see it, but I can't believe that she actually did.
Hey, Mel. Oh, sorry you missed it. Yeah, it was going to be a late one. Well, for you, it's early, I guess. Right. Definitely worth the replay.
Well, Roxanne, it was one of those skeletons that are in my closet that's not coming out. I was in Mexico with some friends and they drugged me, and it's like, yeah, they drugged me and drugged me.
They drugged you? They
drugged and drugged. They drugged me and drugged me in there.
Well, that explains that.
Oh, yes. That was in Boys Town, I'm sorry to say. Which is across the border from Laredo, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Close enough, I think. What town did you say?
Boys Town.
Oh, in Mexico? Yes. I have no idea where that is. I don't know.
I think it's across from Laredo.
I suppose I can look for you. But I don't know. Boys Town. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's in Nuevo Laredo. There's Laredo and Texas. In Texas, and then Nuevo Laredo in Mexico. Right across the bridge there. So you've been there. Have you been there?
Yes.
I believe you. I believe you. She's going to have I don't know, is she going to react violently or something, whatever?
Check and see if she's
live. I'm not sure.
Check and see if she's live.
I think somebody would have tipped us off if she was.
Probably.
I would think. No, but she did. Did she post a video or did somebody else post it? Oh, yeah, somebody else did. Today being the 3-year anniversary of that situation. It's on her page from 3 years ago. 2020, yeah.
I think it was The Ultimate Deception posted that video, but they made it as a Stars commercial, and they were doing a commercial of like the burgers and everything, and then all of a sudden you'll see a flash of Vanessa, and then you'll see fries, and then a flash of Vanessa being arrested. It was quite good. I mean, it was well made.
Yeah, somebody asked me about the remember the video where she was crying from watching that movie?
Oh yeah.
And and yes, so what I said about that was that initially I felt bad and I was not gonna go in on her. I was just gonna observe and we'll do our comment or whatever. But before her video, at the very beginning, she decided to go on this 30 or 40 minute what she gets to do and what happened to her and just rant. I'll call it a rant. And that's when I was like, you know what? These tears ain't real. So forget about it. It bothered me. That bothered me.
No, Nadia, I was actually driving semi-truck at the time.
Anyway, you ready to wrap it up, buddy?
Yes, I got to get to bed.
We got a troll in here.
Do we have a troll?
Whatever.
I'm a troll. I've been a troll. I think I might have slept with a couple of trolls.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. I need to get something to eat. Is what I gotta do. Yeah. There's something I know a lot of you guys don't go like on a live or do a program or something like that. But there's something about it. Maybe it gets the adrenaline going or something. That when it's over, it just gets you hungry. It's like you're hungry. Yeah, I know it didn't help that I had my little adult beverages here right before the start of the show. But anyway, thank you for coming out and participating in this interesting.
Right.
I found it interesting. Somebody's message. Is that your message is going on?
Yes.
Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. We'll see what happens the next few days. We'll let you know. I will let you know. And we'll talk then. Any final words, man?
Yep. Thanks for the cash apps and the cash tips. Much appreciated. And the Venmos. Yeah. Cash apps and cash tips. Oh, sweet Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. So tired I am. I can't think straight. Y'all have a great evening. Hasta luego.
Have a good night. Anyone? Actually, have a good morning. Get some sleep if you're going to go back to sleep.
I am.
Or not. Make some breakfast.
I even set my alarm to wake me up in a couple hours.
There you go. Good night, everyone.
Good night.